Hello and welcome to the channel, everybody. Today I'm going to be doing part 2 of the refurbishment of this Atari Lynx 2 handheld gaming console. In the previous episode I recapped the board and at the end of the recapping realised that this thing. So today we're going to be focusing on switching out the screen here with a new LCD. To that end we've got a kit here which actually comes with a HDMI connector, and I printed out a set of instructions. I won't bother filming the actual taking this apart. If you want to see that, have a look in the link below. What we will do though is we should really test this just to show you that it doesn't actually work, or at least that the screen doesn't work. So don't know what this is, never actually seen it. I've heard it, but never seen it. So anyway, here we go. So as you can see, power lights on. Yep. Volume works. You can hear the music playing in the background, and I don't know if you can actually pick that up. Hopefully you can pick that up. But you can see that the backlight's actually working, but the actual screen itself is basically dead. There's no life on it at all. Okay, as you can see, we've actually taken the console apart here. The actual screen itself is held in by these 4 screws here, the old screen, and I think that just comes out once you've actually done that. If I just put this to one side for a second, and we look at this, the board itself, I'll just prop that up with something so it looks a bit straighter. According to these instructions, there's quite a few components we need to remove from the board. We do have a slightly different revision here, but I don't think there's any major changes to the board. So we have L17, Q14 and 13, which are these two here I believe, C55, T1, C56. There's also a couple of resistors over on this side which are R49 and R48, and then we need to actually bridge R47, which is this one here. So we remove that and just put a bridge or a 0 ohm resistor across there, and then on the other side, under here, notice ours has a much bigger copper plate across it. Under here we need to actually solder on a ribbon cable, and what I might actually do is when we do that I'll put some captain tape across it to make sure it doesn't actually short on the back of this, although I don't believe it'll be an issue. Okay, I think we need to run a few cables. So on the back here, under here again, we need to run the backlight cable over here. I believe it's actually over here. Then we have our audio left and right, which are to these pins over here somewhere under this. But when we lift this up, you'll get a better look at that. And there's also another cable which actually goes to somewhere in here, not really sure. So I mean, hopefully that was as clear as mud. Alright, so before we begin with that, I think probably it would be a good idea to actually have a look what we actually get in the kit. So obviously we have the mini HDMI to a standard HDMI cable, and we actually have the it looks like in here we have, and open this up gently, we actually have the screen. It's got the plastic cover on it so I can touch it at the moment. some double-sided tape, ribbon cable, and if we have a look on this, hopefully you can see this is you've got the ground, left audio, right audio, and BK stands for backlight. We also have our PCB with our micro HDMI or mini HDMI, not sure what they call that. And this is the touch sensor, which actually sticks to the inside of the case. I'm just going to put that back in the bag until we need it. Mainly so I don't lose them, don't lose any bits, which would be a little bit disappointing. It also comes with the 0 ohm resistor and some wires to actually put across there. So we're just going to put this back in the case just so we don't lose them. There we go. And I might actually just move the board over to one side while I take the screen out of here. So as I said, there's just 4 screws holding this in. Okay. Yep. This is actually the ribbon cable for the buttons. So we do need to keep the screws. We'll need them for later, I believe, when we put the PCB in. And there you go. That's the old screen. I mean, they were pretty abysmal, even when they first came out. But I'm gonna be honest, for the time, they were basically cutting edge. I can't actually see anything directly wrong with it. But yeah, as we know, it didn't work. So I might keep it because the backlight works, so I might be able to use it for another console at some time down the track. Okay, so while we're here, we could probably get rid of some of the dust and things from in there. Rather than just sitting here and watching me clean this screen, I thought I would just fast forward through this and put a bit more background music on. If you have a look, the actual tape will be sitting right on this edge here, so you're actually going to get tape on the screen, so you're going to need to be a little bit careful when we actually place it in to make sure we get it the right way around and such like. So I'm just going to dry fit it first just to make sure. So it will end up looking the protective strip off before I put it down. But we're going to have to be quite careful with how we put that in. Don't want to try and get my fingerprints all over this. As you can see, I've already stuffed it up. guess that's kind of in. I suppose the good thing is that we're actually using the outline of the actual screen border there to sort of guide us with our placement for this tape. Okay, so that's that done. Now I'm going to put my gloves back on here because I literally don't want to get fingerprints on this screen for obvious reasons. I mean, I don't believe it would be impossible to take this out if you actually put much of this in, but I'd much prefer I didn't have to. So this one just really doesn't want to come off. Oh, there we go. I think we're getting there. Bingo. Alright, so now we've got our screen. We know which way around it's going to go, so I need to do this reasonably quickly because I don't want to get any dust or anything on the screen. Actually, I think that's got it. What do you reckon? Okay, so now that we've done that, our next job is to actually position the PCB. It goes in that cable there, goes through there, like that, I believe. Is that right? Yes. Okay. So you need to be very careful with these little connectors. I can hopefully take my gloves off now. I'm just going to kind of lift this up. This actually needs to go through there like that, and then back through here. It's actually not as easy as it looks, seems to be it. That look even? Yeah, that looks pretty even. Now this connector here goes onto the touchpad up there, but I might actually just screw this in first. Yeah, that's pretty solid. And luckily that port there actually sits quite well underneath there without actually needing to cut it out. So I don't know, I just don't think the cutting a hole in the top of the case is really sort of what I want to do. Gotcha. So, really speaking, all this is just a little bit of a copper or something like that. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. That's just a touch sensor there. Cool, so functionally that should be our screen installed. what we need to do now is wire it to the board. So first things first, I'm going to need to unsolder some of this copper shielding so that I can actually get to the components underneath with at least some ease. Okay, so let's see what we've got here, shall we? I might just use that out. Now, luckily, a lot of these components are through-hole mounted. Only a couple of little surface mounts, so we should be able to use the solder gun to get most of it off once that heats up. In the meantime, I'm just going to work on the shield. Alright, so let's just check what we actually need to remove here. So let's start at the top there with L17, which is this cap here, so that one there. So we'll just add a little solder to that. So this should help. When it comes to desoldering it. C55, which is this one here. It was at this point that I realized something had gone very wrong. Watch the arrow. Yep, that was definitely not good. We have a short. Whoa. From here I spent several hours going back through the work that we'd done just to make sure that I hadn't made any silly mistakes or failed to pick up on something. Eventually I did identify that the problem is actually with the 5-volt power regulation circuit, and I need to do a call out to the Retro 6 wiki, who has fantastic information on these units on his site there. The problem appears to be very common and resides in this area here. With that in mind, I will call it a do for now while I order some parts, and in part 3 hopefully we can fix it.
Game over.